time for Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle. My name, again, of course, is Trey Lyle. Hope you're doing well. Later on, we'll have Caleb Barnes join me as we break down the series schedule for all three national series, including some news as the new name in the Xfinity Series will be revealed for 2026 as well. Plus, we'll hear some audio from Tyler Reddick after some bad luck at Richmond. He is facing an interesting situation after the Austin Dillon win at Richmond at Daytona. So we'll talk about that and much more. But first, Michael Massie was at Richmond this past weekend, was able to sit with NASCAR Cup Series driver Cole Custer, of course, of Haas factory team. Had a great conversation with him. They talk everything about his season, coming back to the Cup Series, and much more. So check that out right now. Cole Custer heads into the Inferno.
Now it's time for
green, white flag, one more time around. Custer's pulled out to the advantage. He needs a perfect 1 and 2. Allgaier higher, trying to keep the momentum up. Allgaier, he's getting a little pressure for second. Custer pulling away. Custer proving he deserves to be a part of NASCAR's elite. Today, Cole Custer is an Xfinity Series champion.
To go into the Inferno with Trey.
What's going on, everybody? Michael Massie with Frontstretch.com, and I'm joined by Xfinity Series champion Cole Custer here at Richmond Raceway in the garage. It's a few hours before the race. How you doing today, Cole?
Doing good. It's going to be a slick one out there, so I think it'll be a lot of fun.
We got some tires right next to us there. It's out of frame, but how you think that tire wear is going to be?
It's going to be a lot. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fall off. It'll be a little bit better in the race with the fall off, but still, I mean, I think Goodyear's done a great job with the tire. It's exactly what everybody asked for, so it's going to be interesting. When guys use their tires, when they try and save a set, who's good at the start of a run and who's good on the long run. So it's going to be a really interesting race who can put it all together.
All right, and so last week, one of the big stories was Connor Zilisch falling off the thing. And a little bit after it happened, thankfully it wasn't worse than it was, but I started thinking of a memory of a certain someone else, Kentucky 2019, victory lane there. What do you remember about your little tumble there?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the victory lane at Kentucky was banked almost. So when I got up on the car, I was like falling backwards because it was a little bit banked there, and then I jumped off the car and ended up falling. But I was able to catch myself enough where I didn't get hurt or anything. But it's definitely, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. It's definitely, you can lose your footing pretty easy on one of these things.
When you were sailing through the air there for a second, thinking back to that night, did you think you were like, this might be it? I might hurt myself here?
No, I felt like I had it under control most of the time. Like, it was a graceful fall, But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting what they do. I mean, I think everybody just has to be mindful and, just we've seen what can happen, so everybody just has to be careful.
Okay, so you don't think it, because there was talk this week that, fans and outrage, they got to stop climbing up on the door or whatever. You think NASCAR shouldn't be the fun police on this deal?
No, I think they should let us do what we want to do. It's guys do backflips off the car. It's going to be what it's going to be. I think everybody's excited after the race. It's a 1 in a million thing. I think somebody gets hurt. I mean, it can happen. It definitely can. We have to be careful, but I think we got to let us do what we do.
Yeah, for sure. You gonna do a backflip if you win one of these?
I'm not doing that. I'm not. I think I could end up pretty bad spot if I did that.
Sounds good. So next week we go to Daytona. I think back to the Daytona 500 this year. You were so close to pulling that out, winning that race. How many times would you say you've replayed that last lap in your brain?
A lot. Yeah, I mean. Looking back at it, I made the move, when I did, and I had reasons to do that, when the guys were spinning around us and everything on that last lap. But I think at the end of the day, I wish I waited that little bit longer till the front stretch and waited to make my move there. And you'll second guess that your whole life, but I think it is what it is. Super speedway racing, you have to take the moves when they feel right, and you just got to learn for the next one.
How much easier would this season have been had you won, the first go out with Haas Factory team?
A little bit a lot less stressful, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean that it's just the name of the game. It's all about winning here. So if you win, it changes your whole season and your whole team's outlook. So it just puts that much. We saw that last year here at Richmond with the 3-car and how much the lengths he took to try and win the race. Like you're going to do what it takes to try and get yourself in victory lane because it's that big of a jump and that big of a deal to go win there and make the playoffs.
How tough has this year been on you? Like, I know coming up through the ranks, you won everything, and you won at the Cup level, and like this year the speed hasn't been there as much as in the past. So how much of a struggle has this year been on you, like personally?
Yeah, I mean it's tough, but I think at the end of the day, from going to the Cup and then going back down to Xfinity, winning a championship, like I think I have enough confidence in myself that we all know what we need to do better. It's just a matter of implementing that now and slowly getting there and building a notebook and just building this team, week by week. So I feel like, we're moving in the right direction. Just a matter of putting it all together now and, taking it one step at a time. But everybody here is working extremely hard. I mean, everybody at Haas Factory's done a great job. Just going week by week, staying together, and I think it's going to come. We just got to keep staying patient.
Yeah, I've noticed the past few weeks, months, whatever, it does seem like you guys are a lot faster. The results might not show it, but it does feel like the speed's there. How different would you say this team is now, like growth-wise, compared to like the start of the year?
A lot. I mean, there were just so many questions at the start of the year, because it was pretty much a whole new team. A lot of new people, new resources, just everything was new. So we really didn't know where we stacked up and what we needed to do better at the start of the year. But as you go through trial and error and kind of figure out where you're missing it, you figure out more and more what your problems are. And I think now we just have to go about how to implement fixing it.
And like being a single car team this year, like before when we were in Cup, it was a multi-car team. There's not too many single car teams left in Cup. Like how much different is that, compared to being with the multi-car?
Yeah, I mean, it has its, disadvantages with just trying to get information, like you're not the top dog, sometimes of getting the information. But I think at the end of the day, we just have to be very smart with our alliance and how we work with RFK and how we try and, build our notebook is the biggest thing. So I think the more that we can do that and lean on our alliance is the biggest thing.
And, there's the rumor that popped up, I believe 2 weeks ago or so, the whole legacy Haas, maybe something going on there. I got to do my due diligence, right? Can you say anything about that?
I mean, for me, I'm just focused on driving the car. Whatever happens. I mean, I'm really happy with the relationship we have with RFK. But, I'm really happy with that and just focused on trying to make the car go faster. That's all I worry about.
Okay. Well, how does the driver do that? Because we hear that a lot, like drivers just kind of keep their heads down, stay focused. When there is and you had to do it last year, right, with the uncertainty there. How does a driver keep their head down and focus through times like that?
I mean, it's all about just taking it one step at a time. You got to focus on the next lap, the next stage. You can't think of – it's hard. At some points, you have to think about the big picture. But for the most part, you try and focus one step at a time. And, if you do enough things right, that one step at a time, you'll be in the place you want to be.
And I'll send you out on a fun question. Cookout 400. Are you a big Cookout fan? Have you had Cookout before?
I've stopped at Cookout before. Yeah, I mean the hot dogs are good. I respect that.
Have you had the milkshakes?
I have, but I'm Andy's frozen custard guy. I can't be straying off Andy's frozen custard too much. So I would put them. I'm diehard Andy's.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, I can't go wrong for either one from my point of view. But Cole Custer, wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. Thanks so much for joining us. For Cole Custer, I'm Michael Massie. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much to the folks at Haas Factory team, as well as Cole and Michael Massie for that great conversation. Hope everyone enjoyed that. But we got a lot to break down with What's Still Hot, so let's get into it with What's Still Hot.
What's Still Hot? It's time to upgrade you on the latest news in NASCAR.
What's still hot? Time to update you on everything going on. So before we go actually break down the schedule, some news that broke that we really didn't get to talk about last week, as I'm joined by producer / co-host this week, Caleb Barnes at Caleb Barnes _ NASCAR Xfinity Series getting a new name next year is called the NASCAR O'Reillys. series. That's of course the name, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for 2026. Caleb, my question, obviously the key word is as fast as it used to be Xfinity Internet, now it's Xfinity Mobile this season. Do you think my car was as fast as O'Reilly's service? Is that going to be the new tagline going forward?
I don't know what the new tagline is going to be. I saw some people joking like they should give a bonus to whoever gets the most O's in like a pre or post race interview. So maybe that's what it is. But it is going to be weird not having the Xfinity series. I know a lot of people still even call it the Busch series, and then there's now a new generation of fans that really only know it as the Xfinity series. So
Or the Nationwide series?
well, yeah, I guess I skipped over Nationwide. Totally forgot about that one. But yeah, it's definitely different, and I'll be curious to see if they come up with something to kind of shorten it, because it's like having like the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, like, or the NASCAR Cup Series, like those are pretty short. But you got the Xfinity, or I'm gonna call it Xfinity anyways, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Like there's a lot of different words and letters and all sorts of other things to go in there. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see if they do any sort of marketing stuff too, because I think that's like a lot of it's up to Xfinity and whatever they wanted to promote, whether it was like fastest Xfinity 5G and then Xfinity Mobile is what has been this year. So I wonder if like O'Reilly Auto Parts, if they'll have their brand name, if there's a special part promotion, they're like as fast as O'Reilly batteries or something. Who knows what this might look like next year, but it'll be interesting to see. And I think like the green playoff banners, like Xfinity's been purple and red, and I think if O'Reilly Auto Parts bring in the green, I think those look pretty nice.
Yeah, green and black, not a bad color combo. O'Reilly's obviously a familiar brand. The band sponsors the weekly series and the regional scene. So, because it's the Advanced Auto Parts NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series, I think is the name of that. I think it's good that NASCAR is getting a sponsorship, still getting a title sponsorship for Xfinity Series. So, but yeah, I'm more interested to see if they, how many drivers will do the O'Reilly's Auto Parts jingle. That's kind of where I'm at on that. Well, while you're probably all here is our thoughts on the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Xfinity, or should I say, by the time that happens, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
So natural, just say it.
We're gonna have to put, I think, $1 in the jar.
Yes,
$1 in the jar for when we do it. But we got till 2026, and then obviously the Craftsman Truck Series. Caleb, let's start with the Cup Series, and we're not going to run through the entire thing. Head to frontstretch.com, and we have a great article out and plenty of reaction to breaking down the entire schedule. But do want to get some news and notes of things that we haven't really been able to talk about. First off is Watkins Glen being moved to May. It's going to be May 10th. And speaking of the month of May, we will have Dover in the month of May, but that will be the All-Star race, which opens up, obviously, the North Wilkesboro will be now in July for a 400 lapper for a points race, full-on points race, and that's going to be moved to the Prime Series, which obviously excited Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be on the call for that with Prime. Looking at the schedule, it's 2 off weekends in the Cup Series. It's obviously with Easter being one of them, and then the transition between Indianapolis and Iowa when they go to NBC being the other. Overall, your thoughts on the schedule, and any of the things we talked about, or the things we maybe didn't know really coming into this week. Anything surprising?
I guess the crazy thing is like most of the big schedule announcements, like San Diego and like returning to Chicagoland, were pretty much like had already been out there for a while now. The Dover stuff and Wilkesboro, there was some of the rumors about Wilkesboro getting a points race, which is really cool, great bonus. But the Dover stuff all kind of came out in the last week or so, and that and Watkins Glen are probably the two biggest bummers, I would say. Like Watkins Glen, I'll be curious to see how that works out, because I know I thought part of the reason that we waited until late summer to go race at all these tracks up in the Northeast and just really the northern half of the United States is because like the spring, it takes a lot longer to warm up and it takes a lot longer for the weather to kind of be cooperative. And so I've seen some people talking about the weather isn't great. And it's another one of those things, even whenever they move Watkins Glen to the playoffs, like that date's always had great attendance. And like I am supportive of the thought to try to spread out some of the road course races a little bit more, but moving Watkins Glen to May is a bit of a question mark. Like, why not move Sonoma up a little bit more, or who knows? But there's that. And then I know Dover and the All-Star race, I mean, we'll just have to see what they do. I can't, like, just Dover and the All-Star race doesn't get me super excited for the All-Star race. Plus, I saw some fans talking about, like, it really sucks because it's taking away their full points paying event, the full 400-mile race that they've had the last couple of years. And I feel like for those fans in that area, it also doesn't quite make up for losing a full race just to go to an all-star event where there's some money on the line. Yeah, but that's about it. So those were some pretty big disappointments. I'm also not a huge fan of having Iowa and Richmond back-to-back. I know they're technically different racetracks, but they look and feel a lot the same. But I do think, I mean, the playoff schedule looks a lot better this year, even though Talladega is still in the round of 8, not my favorite thing. And then the other thing, I did take a look at the TNT Sports schedule, and if we do have the in-season tournament again next year, like that looks like a much better layout for working that in-season challenge, tournament, whatever you call it. And that one looks a lot more, looks like it would turn out a lot better than it did this year with, like, there's still Atlanta in that challenge, but Atlanta's in the middle instead of starting that off. So those were some of my quick takeaways just from looking at the schedule. No, like, huge, major, like, jaw-dropping surprises. Again, those were kind of all announced already. So there was a couple of disappointments, nothing major, but I mean, you don't have to have big, huge changes every single year. And we've already kind of had those announcements spoil some of the excitement anyways.
Yeah, you mentioned that it was Sonoma, Chicago, Atlanta, North Wilkesboro, Indy is the in-season challenge races this season. So looking at this schedule now, yeah, I think you brought up a really good point. New Hampshire now out of the playoffs because it's getting replaced by Homestead, which obviously is the championship race, which they had Homestead earlier this year because they wanted to give the track, do upgrades to the track for the championship race. I agree with you about Talladega. I think Coronado is going to be a cool spectacle. I do think not doing, was it like 4 road course races within a 7-week span is what they had. Spreading it out a little bit more is a lot better. And then so I think this is logistically a little bit better of a schedule. I know last year or this season they were a little kind of constrained on what they could do. I think Chicagoland's going to put on a really good race. I do wish they would flip Chicagoland and Atlanta and have Atlanta as the July 4th race, so it's similar to what we saw for Daytona in terms of the style of racing. But that's something that might happen in the future. As for moving to the O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series, aka the Xfinity Series, no Portland of note, and obviously you can include this with the Truck Series. Rockingham, they're heading on April 4th. That appears to be the only time they differentiate from the Cup Series this season, unlike where they would go to Portland among others. It just it seems like NASCAR is pulling out of their Pacific Northwest presence. Ben Kennedy mentioned they still want to bring a Cup race there, but overall thoughts on Xfinity dropping Portland this next season.
This is going to sound bad. I don't mean this as an offense to Portland. I don't necessarily care as much about them dropping Portland. Really, just the big standout to me is, like, I know we're in this era of cost-saving measures for whatever reason in the NASCAR world, but just the lack of diversity from the Cup Series schedule is probably the most disappointing thing for me. Like, looking at even a decade ago, all the Xfinity races that used to be at unique venues and used to be separate weekends, like they were still racing on the same weekend as a Cup race, but they were racing at a different venue. And some of those places, like, I guess the flip side, some of the bonus is that some of those places the Cup Series has raced at now, like Nashville is the first one that comes to mind for me. But on the other hand, like it just seems kind of, the Xfinity schedule especially seems kind of stale. And like the same remark. Like they're going to some of the new places like San Diego, and they have their Rockingham, which we saw this year already. But those are all places that the Cup Series is already going to and drawing all the attention. And so that kind of just that lack of diversity from the Cup Series schedule, I think, just as much as the Xfinity Series has stood out this year, especially being on the CW, and maybe with that network presence, it doesn't need the diversity from the Cup Series schedule to stand out. But I feel like some different races like a Portland or going to some of these other tracks that even that the Truck Series goes to, I think would help the Xfinity Series just continue to diversify its portfolio a little bit and give it some differentiation from the Cup Series.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. The Truck Series is doing something special with the differentiate, but I agree with you. I will say this though, the fact that Xfinity and Truck are going to be the Easter weekend, it means most of the crew members who cross over and do pit stop, like especially the pit crew members who do Xfinity and Truck, they basically get one off weekend this entire season, next season, which sucks.
Yeah.
So that's just something to keep in mind. But
at least the summer off week or the other off weekend for everybody is in the summer. As opposed to like this year, I think for the Cup Series, wasn't it just that one Easter off week for them?
Easter,
and then
yep, absolutely. And then for the Truck Series, something cool they're doing. Obviously, Fox broadcast the entire Truck Series. They also broadcast the IndyCar Series. So I think the part of the Truck Series that at least flashes towards you is that February 28th, the trucks are heading to will be part of the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg weekend, doing a doubleheader with the IndyCar Series. Obviously, Fox had some influence in that, but that's something that is pretty cool to see on the Truck Series schedule, and something to keep in mind as I think a unique moment for the Truck Series next season, going partnering up with the IndyCar Series, obviously because of the broadcast partner in Fox.
Yeah, that is a really cool opportunity. I actually didn't see that until just today, or I guess just now. But that's a really neat opportunity for them to go and get to do that, and hopefully we'll see some kind of IndyCar NASCAR crossover. I am going to sound maybe like a bit of a hypocrite now. The Truck Series is going to 5 road courses next year, which, we already talked about the I'm fine with the Cup schedule going to road courses because of how many races that they have, but the Truck Series has almost half the races, and they're still going to just as many road courses, it feels like. And I feel like they're not the best road racing product, although I guess Corey Heim's been dominant, and we'll see whether he's still racing on road courses next year in the Truck Series. So maybe it could be an opportunity, who knows? But that is a really cool opportunity. And then, they have that Lime Rock and a few other, they do have some more of the differentiation. I do wish that these lower series would go to some more of these grassroots tracks and kind of dig into those markets if they're able and available. But hey, it's a cool opportunity. I'm definitely looking forward to that trucks with St. Petersburg and IndyCar.
Something cool about the Truck Series is they're not repeating a track the entire season. They go to Charlotte twice, but one's the Roval. So something to keep in mind with that. They also lost Pocono as well as Las Vegas this upcoming season. So
they are going to Bristol twice. That's the only one.
Yes, there it is.
Fine.
You're right.
That's okay.
Bristol. They are going to Bristol twice on this upcoming season. That I knew it was one. They repeated twice. All right, there we go.
No one's going to complain about Bristol twice, though.
I will say this: a negative thing. Xfinity not at Richmond. Put the Xfinity Series back at Richmond.
Dang.
Well, speaking of a guy who probably is a little upset about Richmond is Tyler Reddick. Had a fast car, but unfortunately got caught up in someone else's mess that resulted in some unique circumstances for him. As he's our focus of our soundbite of the week.
Well, Tony, what angered you at the end of the race? What did you take issue with?
What the hell do you think I was mad about? Dumb little runs us clear down to the infield. He wants to about everybody else, and he's the one that drives like a little. I'm gonna bust his ass.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
And short track races.
It's time for the sound bites of the week.
Tyler Reddick, it looked like you might have had one of the fastest cars of the night. First off, what happened in that incident with you, Ty Gibbs, Suarez?
Yeah, Daniel just got impatient and just knocked 54 out of the way, and that's what took us out. Unfortunately, I thought I had a feeling that was what was going to happen. I was just hoping that more respect was going to be given. But, yeah, I mean, he went in there, he moved 54. I don't know if he meant for it to wreck me, but nonetheless, I feel like time and time again, Daniel's done that type of thing.
Given how fast you guys were, like, how disappointing is this night for 2311 as a whole?
Yeah, it's pretty much worst case scenario for us. When you have, a Chumbuck Casino Toyota Camry as fast as ours is, you need to score the points. 48, scored a lot of points and a 3-1. So, yeah, all in all, it was pretty much worst case scenario. Yeah, we can thank Daniel Suarez for that.
What just happened on the it's just like you victim of circumstance?
Yeah, I mean, he moved the 54. He was frustrated, whatever it was at the 54, got in his way and was racing him, and he moved him, and it spun me out.
How bad was the car after that? Like, how much damage did that do?
Quite a bit. I mean, went from a car that was one of the fastest on the track to one of the slowest. So, yeah, it affected.
So you look at that. He gets caught up in that incident after winning the first stage, and he's plus 89 in the cut line. So you would think, oh, that's good going into one race. He should be locked in, but he's not, because the difference between him and Alex Bowman is only 29 points. And if Bowman can overcome that and we have a new winner, Tyler Reddick is out of the playoffs, which would be kind of shocking considering he was the regular season champion last season. Caleb Barnes, is this the moment that ultimately cost Tyler Reddick? Is that Daniel Suarez wrecking Ty Gibbs into him the moment that cost Tyler Reddick a chance at the Cup Series playoffs?
It doesn't have to be. And I mean, really, I always go to the whole, like, you have a whole season of opportunities and like just from race to race where a few points slip away here and a few more slip away there. And but I think, I mean, this is, if Tyler lets it kind of affect his mental state going into Daytona, obviously some of the mentality already is that Daytona is enough of just a kind of luck of the draw of where you wind up whenever the big one strikes. But I mean, I think if Tyler Reddick and his team can come up with a plan and stay safe, like, I think they should be fine getting through Daytona, obviously, as long as there's no new winners. But yeah, I don't think it has to be the mistake that costs Reddick the shot at the playoffs at this moment. And I mean, he's got to hope Bowman, like all the same obstacles that Reddick's looking at with the big one and any sort of wild aspect of Daytona, Alex Bowman's got to, I guess, avoid the same things, and they've all got the same chance to kind of get shaken up in this blender that we like to call Daytona and the playoff cutoff. So I think the frustration is definitely understandable because he had a really good car. It was at that point in the race, it looked like it was going to be between him and his teammate Bubba Wallace. And I think that's also maybe where some of the frustration comes from, is the last couple weeks, and you could argue the whole season really, that Tyler Reddick, after winning the regular season championship, after making the championship 4, had that exciting moment last year at Homestead, winning 3 races last year, I believe. He hasn't won it all this season, and you could argue he's even been the second best car at 23:11 throughout this year. So I think there's just a lot of frustration, and not that it's any of his own doing, like we saw Saturday night. So as long as he doesn't like stay down on himself and let that mentality affect him going into Daytona, I think he could very well go out and win the thing this weekend. So I guess we'll just have to see what sort of a mind space that they're in, and how that team, what kind of a plan they can come up with, and how they'll end up performing on Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously he should feel pretty good about his point situation. 29 is still a lot. I think Bowman has to finish essentially 29 points ahead of him, positions ahead of him. And if you're him, if you just stay one position behind Bowman the whole time and just push him even to the win, you make the playoffs. So I think points wise it's okay, but it's definitely one of those moments where it's the first time in these last couple of weeks where I actually thought, oh my God, Tyler Reddick actually might miss the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Which kind of shows the weird part of this system, whether you agree or disagree. Anyway, looking at that, let's wrap up the podcast with some final thoughts.
It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line. Big crash. Here they
The checkered flag is out, and it's time for the final thoughts.
Final thoughts, checkered flag out. Anything you want to rant, rave, or review about? Caleb Barnes, you're first.
I mean, I'm trying to look through because I feel like there's a bunch of things that have happened, and at the same time, I'm going back through like all my big topics that I like wrote down, and I'm like, I feel like we've talked about this a lot. One thing that did stand out and kind of caught my eye that I saw today, I guess it was came out last night, but according to Adam Stern, USA Network earned a 0.75 rating and 1.4 million viewers for the Saturday race at Richmond. Last year was obviously on a Sunday, and that one got a 1.2 rating and 2.2 million viewers. And I don't know. I know a lot of people are jumping immediately to the whole like Saturday night versus Sunday afternoon, and like this is why NASCAR doesn't race on Saturday nights. But I mean that we were watching it together. Like that was one of the more, if not the most entertaining races of the year. And I don't think on NASCAR side of things, like I know people are pretty down on the dumps about TV ratings and stuff this year. And some of that is kind of because of the stretch races on Prime that didn't get ratings like it normally would. I don't think NASCAR should let these moments kind of take away from their willingness to race on Saturday nights. I actually think if NASCAR did it more throughout the course of the season, as opposed to like having no Saturday night racing until like a stretch of 3 out of 5 weeks or something like that this summer, like I think that would actually help. Maybe some more people get a little bit more used to it as well. But then I also want to say, like, if races are consistently entertaining and if the car is consistently putting on better product as opposed to what we've seen the last month or so, a lot of people have just gotten fatigued out of that, and Saturday nights are busy. And I think people are just saying, like, I've seen what this car has been doing the last month or two. Like, I don't want to carve out 4 hours on my Saturday night to watch more of that. Whereas if you know that the car is going to put on a great race, if you know that this stuff's going to be entertaining and you're going to have all these tire strategies like we did on Saturday night, and you're going to have like these potential surprise winners in contention. Like, I think if that's more expected, I would say, then I think you don't have to worry as much about getting less viewers. So yeah, it was a tough number to see, like just really surprisingly low, I feel like. But I hope that doesn't discourage Saturday night racing, because I do enjoy the break from the typical, the traditional Sunday afternoon. Like it's fun to see cars under the lights and beat and bang. And like they used to talk about like Saturday night short track racing, and that was when like the drivers would really come out of their shells and the tempers would flare and everything else. So that's what I wanted to hit on today.
Looking at yeah, that's a good way to hit on it, and mine's piggybacking kind of off of what you said. It's just for me personally, as someone has a personal connection with Richmond Raceway, or Richmond International Raceway, it should properly be called. That was a very vindicating kind of race for me. It was very vindicating for Austin Dillon. Almost said Alex Bowman, but maybe a little bit for Alex Bowman, just to get him, a good points day compared to Tyler Reddick, but I don't think it was, because he felt like he could got the win. But the fact that it felt like the action track again. It was everything you wanted in that type of racing. It gave me vindication on, oh my God, we could have something here. So I just want to shout out Richmond. They've put on a heck of a show, and the 804 for showing out and selling out a crowd. And it was a great crowd there that night. So shout out to the 804. Shout out to Richmond. I agree with Austin Dillon. Do 10 races at Richmond every year. And I would, if I could, I'd be at all 10. So that's how I feel about that. But that will do for this. A lot going on in the courtroom, as Denny Hamlin called the schedule being out this week because something we didn't get into, 2311 or NASCAR towards 2311 and FRM put out a lengthy reason why the preliminary injunction should not be granted, including some tidbits about how they already have prospective buyers, how it's a lot of legalese and a lot of information that was shared. And a good place to hear that is an article from Samuel Stubbs and Caleb Barnes.
Hey, it is my week to write that, so I will do my best to try and break down. Usually what I do is I just like put straight up the quotes from the filing, and then if there's like some legal jargon, I try to explain. So if you want to try to keep up with these bullet points, and we've been covering it, Samuel and I, all I guess it's almost been a year now since once we get to October, So yeah, we coming up on a year on that, but keep up with that every Friday, or I guess every Friday evening, Saturday morning. I'm not sure when it gets posted, but
there we go. And then obviously Through the Gears is coming out next on the Frontstretch Podcast Network. Wyatt Watson with your best picks. By the way, Wyatt Watson is the good guy to listen to his picks, because last week he gave out 50-1 on Austin Dillon to win at Richmond, and he tweeted it out at Wyatt W Racing, his reaction to Austin Dillon winning. 50-1 ticket cash. So if you want to make some money, listen to Through the Gears, which you can listen
Cody Ware.
He might pick Cody Ware this week. And then all I got to say is if Cody Ware wins at Daytona, it's going to be the most interesting NASCAR discourse in the history of NASCAR discourse. Let's just put it at that. And that's how we'll end this podcast. Check out the Front Podcast Network. If you missed a great conversation with Jeff Hammond reacting to the schedule, the Happy Hour guys had that as well on your podcast network. For Caleb Barnes, I'm Trey Lyle, signing off for now. Bye, everybody.